You're still here? You haven't left yet. Okay, sure. I'll humor you, but first you gotta buy me a drink. Okay. Well, the bartender's getting that. I'll tell you another story. So, this would have been about a week ago. We got a missive from Ronir saying that the Forces of Chaos had been acquisitioned for their unmatchable conflict resolution skill set. So we responded. We went over. Turns out there were four guilds that were fighting over similar areas of turf, saying that each person had a right to it when technically only one did. The reason they wanted it is there was a really rare, like one of a kind source of power in the form of a lavender toned orb. A lot of people knew this orb's power. The Shadow Guild, the Nature Guild, the Paladins, and then you had the Fire Guild. Well, the Paladins were technically anti-Paladins, but they didn't want us to do that, and I'll get to that in a second. So we get down there, and we decide to split the party because we all just, it's been a long journey, we know something's fishy, we just want to get to the bottom of it and go home. Our witch, I still can't remember her name. Our witch, our shadow dancer, Klaus, obviously. I think that's it. Yeah, it was just our witch and our shadow dancer. Went to the Shadow Guild. Mace, Helwyn, George, Man in Black. Yeah, that was it. Went to the Fire Guild, and I went to the Nature Guild, the Tree Huggers. And so I get there, asked to speak to the head of the guild, a very lavish young woman. I'm gonna give her middle age, probably 40. Depending on what race she was, I didn't really pay attention. Probably a half elf. Stepped forward, and we began conversing. I was able to uncover that their intentions behind finding the power were true. They knew if it fell into the wrong hands, it would be misused. But their intentions behind the power were a little bit shady. I never truly understood what they were searching for, what they needed, but I do know that had they retrieved the source of power, we would probably be living in a gigantic forest if we were still living. So we complete talking to these different guilds. I agree with mine in particular, the Nature Guild, that if it comes to combat, I will do my best to come into their aid, but I make no promises in regards, in regards to anything for that matter. I just, I'll do my best to help you, but if it prevents me from keeping the better interests of my guild at heart, or causes me to strike one of my fellow guild members, I will turn on you. And she accepts, and I leave. We all meet in the center chamber. and discuss what we're going to do. We have, at this point, picked the source of power from where it was, and we take... Man in Black takes the source of power and shoves it in a bag of holding because it masks the magical aura of it. Sorry. Sorry about that. And so, with the magical aura masked, Mace casts prestidigitation to make it appear as though he's holding the shattered source of power. We call all of the guild leaders, not letting any of the other members in the area in, and say that their feud is what broke it. Now, I say fool, I'm not trying to be rude, we fool all but the anti-paladins, who don't see through it. In fact, a couple minutes into their rage, we hear banging on the other side of the wall. They've almost got it down. Man in Black uses pretty much just a flick of a finger and it's back up. All of a sudden, I don't know where we see a dimension door. And in come the paladins. But we have a witch. A dreamweaver, to be specific. And they were asleep. Then, I don't remember the name of the spell, but it was like she picked him up and shoved him outside the wall. And then, failed to cast it the first time on the paladin, but it did take its toll. Like, he was barely awake. So me, I don't care. I realize this is a serious matter, but I just don't care. I walked up, looked him dead in the eyes, and then said, "This ain't working for you, is it? What you gonna do about it?" He gently slugs me in the arm and then passes out. And our witch then uses her Dreamweaver abilities to make him believe us. That was it. The guilds dispersed. I mean, I did, even though technically all I got was an address, like a location of where she is. I have a feather token. And a feather token is an instant messenger bird. And so she may as well have just given me her phone number. So I don't know what that gives, but that's not important. The important thing is we essentially stopped the destroying of the world again. But so yeah, it was a very, very long evening, but it could have gone worse.